All right. I don't know if this is. Oh, you know what? Give me one. Or maybe don't give me 1 second. I think this is on, but I think I just lost my headphones. Give me a second. Okay. I think we're on. Okay. Excuse me. Sorry. What's up? How y'all doing? Good to see you. And welcome back to another episode of Black Bear News. Was hard at work making some music this weekend. Almost done with what I was working on. So I had to kind of configure my what's up? Bella, welcome. Malcolm, we here? All right. Our chat just went all kind of weird. Okay. Yeah, I was busy making some music, and obviously every time that happens I have to reset up my studio, and there's always a problem with that. Wanted to thank Carrie Nanstead, who tipped me $20 on Rockfin over the weekend. Thank you, Carrie. I appreciate that. And all the Patreoners, and got some reoccurring donations this weekend from PayPal, Patreon, all the places. So if you're a supporter there, thank you. I appreciate it. You guys rock. All right, so this is big news. Kind of wanted to get this out of the way. That Biden had pardoned Hunter. Joe pardoned Hunter. Here's a supercut of the corporate media saying he would never do such a thing because he's such an honorable guy. And, you know, we don't do stuff like that or something. The we meaning like the Democrats or something. Anyways, we'll watch this.
The presidential promise to put the law before family.
I said I abide by the jury decision. I will do that, and I will not pardon him.
Letting the world know that he will not wipe away the decision of 12 of his son's peers.
Was asked directly, and he has said he wouldn't pardon his son if he gets convicted.
Let's wait and see what happens if he loses.
Yeah, but he said it.
He's going to get pardoned by his dad. There's no question about that.
The president has ruled out pardoning his son.
Major commitment from the president, accepting the outcome of the trial and also pledging not to pardon his son.
So the challenge for him is really to continue to live up to his values when it was really personal, and he did that today.
It seems like a pretty...
Okay, this is a long cut. We're not going to watch the whole thing, but you guys get the idea. You know, politicians. What are you going to do? They lie, they cheat, they steal. It's interesting, though. He pardoned Hunter all the way back to 2014. Why is this important? Because what kicked off in 2014? Not in 2021. Was it 2021 or 22 when the Ukraine war kicked off? Ukraine kicked off in 2014. That's when there was an overthrow, a coup, if you will, of the sitting president, which by all evidence, was backed and instigated by the U.S. and the CIA. And who was in office at the time? It was Obama. And maybe they are, I don't know, Judy, maybe they are afraid of more. They're talking about other people that Biden should pardon, because they think Trump is going to come in. I wonder though. It's odd. I mean, maybe he will go after people. What's interesting is when Trump first took off, did Trump go after anybody besides Assange? He did go after Assange. But did he go after his political opponents? If anybody, I don't remember one, but if I'm missing information, could somebody educate me? I feel like the whole time Trump was president, the first time, they were going after him, right? He was the target. Russiagate, impeachments, etc. And you could think all of that is true and correct. I mean, Russiagate was pretty clearly false. It seemed like he was the target of political witch huntery. It seemed like. And we don't know. And it seems like even when he was out of office, he's been the victim of political witch huntery or whatever. I mean, yeah, I guess. If you're on one side of the aisle, if you're on one side, you could, he's a 34-time felon, twice impeached, crook. And okay, yeah. Yeah, lock her up never did happen. You're right. Lock her up never act. In fact, he was like, nah, they're fine. When he took office, he was like, they're okay. He did what most presidents do, which is like, oh, the last administration was just so horrible and corrupt. Are you going to do anything about it? And they're like, nah, we're just going to let it go. Move on. Move forward. That's what we got to do. Yeah, and the reactions, I don't know. The reaction from the left, I'm sorry, is just not great. I mean, it is, I don't know what to believe about his current convictions. I see a lot of evidence that it was, politically motivated, and or that, especially the one in New York with the lady claiming, sexual inappropriate. Look, I'm sure that Donald Trump is guilty of all kinds of things. In fact, I'm pretty positive. And if someone is guilty of inappropriate behavior, criminal activity, et cetera, I think that that should negate them from eligibility for office. But the idea, I think that should negate them for eligibility for office. I think that's true. I think that's what the left is trying to tell you. But that doesn't mean that you're, I see just, I don't know. There's just an ingrained kind of TDS kind of thing going on with the left. And I don't know. It's like you skew your whole moral, I see everybody on the left is like, well, Trump is just such a felon. Like, who cares about Hunter Biden? Dude, who cares about Hunter Biden? I mean, there's evidence there that he's up to a lot of, beyond crack smoking, that there's a lot of stuff going on, especially with Burisma, right? And he is part of the what would be known as the Biden crime family. He's a linchpin. He's an operative. He's a major operative of what would be known as the Biden crime family. So anyways, yeah, 2014 kicked off. the Ukraine. That's actually when the Ukraine war started. That's actually when the thing started. But this is the pardon here. I mean, he was in charge of Burisma Holdings, Ukraine's largest private gas producer. Also, Rosemont, I guess, was another company that he's part of, and that he was also involved with, and/or they were involved with, like, the biolabs, right? So there were biolabs in Ukraine that they were admitted to. Victoria Nuland admitted to the biolabs. I don't know. And that Hunter was involved in that. And that, there was other things going on, aka money laundering, et cetera, et cetera. So look, what I'm saying is that I don't think that one negates the other, right? Like, I'm just saying, people are above the law, right? And Biden said no one is above the law, but apparently Hunter Biden is above the law. I just, I don't know how you can, this is not, I don't know how you can see, like, criticizing Democrats as support for Trump. I don't know. I think he's a deep state actor just like anybody else. It is weird though. If someone is a deep state actor, he does seem to have an awful lot of pushback, right? People seem to be, it seems like the deep state is, but maybe all that is theater. I don't know. I wouldn't be surprised. It wouldn't surprise me if it is. And when Trump was in office last time, again, there was no locker up. There was no, he didn't go after his political opponents. So I think it's hilarious that people are like, oh my God, he's going to take office and throw everybody in jail. I'm like, he didn't do that the first time. He did the bidding of the deep state the first time. He did he tried to overthrow Venezuela. He went after Julian Assange. He bombed Syria. He, bombed Iran. He, whatever. All of these things seem to be pretty apparent. So if he is an enemy of the deep state, Trump, I'm talking about, which on some levels it seems like he is, I guess. When he gets into office, he seems to do their bidding. And now he's getting into office and he seems to be, aside from the health appointments, and like the FDA appointments, it seems like he's promoting people that are pretty deep statey, pretty BlackRocky, pretty Peter Thiel-y, pretty, right? He's playing along. Barron is a time traveling antichrist, and I'm all for it. His great uncle took yeah, you're right. You're right. Anyway, so this is interesting news. It's something that happened. If you think that Trump is more of a liar than Joe, I will bet you cash money that he isn't. That Joe is a worse and more long-lived liar. That doesn't say anything, though. That doesn't mean like Trump is a good guy. That's not a Trump support. Trump is a hell of a liar, and he does it all the time. But it's like, at least Trump like lets the truth slip out once in a while. But like, Biden is just a freak of nature as far as lying goes. He's one of those bald-faced, narcissistic, like lie with a straight face. Like, no, No, totally. I would never do that. I am one of the best humans ever. And if you doubt that, who are you? Yeah, you ain't black, etc. But whatever. But TDS runs rampant. I have to say, and it's kind of ugly, and it's just, I don't know. It's really ugly. It's really, Trump's not even in office yet, and there's all kinds of ridiculousness going on. I mean, he's not in office yet, and we have a ramp up of the Ukraine war. We have a re-ignition of the Syrian war. We have, I guess over the weekend it was made apparent that the ceasefire with Hezbollah is just smoke and mirrors for ramping some other things up. Now Israel is bombing 3 countries. We're going to talk about that. Drivers have found themselves stranded on the I-90 this is over the weekend too, overnight due to extreme lake effect snow. So there's a huge snowstorm in the northeast. And on one level, this is weather. This is stuff that happens in the winter. On another level, it could be seen as being exacerbated and or made worse by the change in the climate, etc. It's hard to differentiate sometimes. This is Leon Simons. I think it's more likely than not that 2024 will end up crossing 1.6C. The average of the past 365 days is 1.61C. The average of the last 365 days is 1.61C. Are we past 1.5 yet, guys? The average for the last 365 days is 1.61. Are we over? Judy Truitt says Bernie Sanders is now saying progressives should leave the Dem Party and join MAGA folks. Really? Is that true? Well, that's another phenomenon. Look, man, I'm just covering these stories, and I don't know, people get all upset because we're talking about, because it's not. I mean, there are serious issues with some of the Trump appointments for sure, and we've talked about that. He's appointing AIPAC, friendly people and BlackRock friendly people, and these are all deep state. Aside from the health appointment, Dr. Jay Bhattacharya, those are decent picks. Even Matt, I heard some interesting stuff around Matt Gaetz and the reason why he declined or let go of the nomination for Attorney General. That was very interesting. Well, I'm seeing some people on the left. Some people on the left are just absolute, Kyle Kalinske is absolute, full-blown TDS, I don't know what is wrong with Kyle Kalinske, but he's just trolling. I think he's just trolling people, but Kyle Kalinske is kind of doing what Cenk Uygur did years ago, and now Cenk Uygur is like, you know what? It's weird. I'm seeing posts by Cenk Uygur, and he's like, you know what? Actually, I have to say the Democrats are so terrible. I actually kind of like Trump, and I actually feel better that Trump. I think that was one of his posts. He said, I actually feel better that Trump is in office now. And I'm seeing quite a few other people going, what? Sandy thinks all men hate women now. Why is that? Why? I mean, let me tell you, the ridiculousness of TDS is just, and it's not really. I want to say on one level, it's not people's faults because they've been propagandized. But if you're dumb enough to be propagandized, then it's your fault. There is some user responsibility in the news, right? It sucks because you get the news and you have to you really have to be so objective and skeptical about the news to really know what's going on. So it's, it sucks that people are being propagandized so hard. But if you keep buying the propaganda over and over again and you can't see your way through it, I don't really have a lot of pity for you. At some point you got to wake up. But I mean I listened to a conversation. She thinks all men are racist hating women, then realizing how wrong she is. What? She'd rather think all men are racist. They hate women. Is that? Oh, why? Because of Trump? I mean, that's kind of a wild idea, if that's. Anyways, I listened to some conversation and I really wish I didn't overhear this conversation, but it was between two younger people, but this one, they seemed very I don't know what you would call firmly in in a woke bubble, I guess, or something. But they were also kind of crazy because this, one woman was 24 and she was playing Roblox, which is a game that kids play. And she's a gamer. I don't know. Her conversation was that of a 13-year-old, but she was 24. And I was like, you clearly have issues. But anyways, and apparently she was gay. And so they were talking about, I'm just giving you the snippet. They were talking about living in Texas, moving to Texas. And this lady said, "Oh no, they'll kill me." I was like, "No, they're not going to kill you in Texas, you ridiculous fool. Are you, what is wrong with you?" You know that, Texas is pretty liberal. When you get into the cities, it's just like every other state. It's like LA, or it's like California, or Illinois. If you live in a city, it's hyper liberal. It's nobody cares, and nobody cares about you and what you're doing. Nobody cares that you're gay and that you're a Latina. Nobody cares. And they're not shipping all Latino people back. That's not what's happening. That's just but that's what she was saying. Oh, first of all, all the Latino people are going to go back to Mexico. I was like, a lot of people here are citizens. I didn't say that. I was just thinking that, most of the Latinos in Texas are citizens. They live there. They're not getting shipped back, and they're not going to kill you because you're but that's how people think, because they're insane people, and they've been propagandized to be insane people. So you have to discern whether you're actually getting real information, or whether you're basing how you think about the world based on this false information is. But it's clearly it's effective because people think this stuff. But that's why, people do the news. Gene Whitworth says, "I'm a metro. I think women rule, or they should." I think women are fucking great. I also think that women are people. I think that, women are people, men are people. We're all people, right? And people are prone to be brilliant or insane. Somewhere on the graph between brilliant, insane, or maybe a little of both. And that's, all people are like that. So, there's a wide range of people. I don't know. Malcolm Young says anyone up to 50 years of age in 2024 is simply a first generation gamer. It's now normal for all ages. Oh, you play Minecraft? All good. I wasn't trying to disparage anybody. I just thought it was a little weird because it's like, and she kind of said as much in her conversation because little like kids play Roblox, and she was like, I was in a Roblox game talking to somebody and they found out how old I was, and they were like, and she was old for the game, right? For the people that were playing, they were like, oh, you're kind of old to be here. So she's kind of old to be there. And she seemed her thinking seemed very infantilized, but that's just my judgment. Maybe I shouldn't judge people. Maybe my thinking is infantilized. Denver says, my Trump supporting friend I've known since elementary school, who would be labeled a racist, gun-toting bad man, works and interprets for a Chinese auto body repair shop and mechanic. Has like a dozen Latina girlfriends and has a good Venezuelan buddy named Nestor. Okay. I mean, I'm sorry. It's clearly, if you think like, okay, this time around, Trump is going to lock everybody up and deport, everybody who's not white and throw everybody in the like, if you think that, you're a fucking lunatic. You're a fucking lunatic. I'm sorry. Just stop it. Just stop it. Now, are they going to do shitty economic things? Probably. Are they going to, could they cut Social Security, Medicare? or rearrange those things in a way that would greatly impact people? Probably. That's not good. But you could blame the Democrats for going, here you go, Trump. Judy Truitt says, I think if a man has a sister and a woman has a brother, they understand the opposite sex better. Hopefully. It was the other day, it was like a week ago, it was like National Men's Day or something like that. And first of all, very few people were celebrating it. And a couple of people were like, it's National Men's Day, but you won't ever hear about that. But I saw one or two women going like, you know what? It's National Men's Day, and I'm not a man hater. And men are, worthy and have value, and are, they work hard and they're protectors and stuff. And I was like, thank you, because you don't hear that too much, do you? Anyways, it's all screwed up, right? There's not, there's no type of person that, it's the whole idea that like voting for Trump or being okay with, Trump or being mad, or even just, let's say, not even being okay with Trump, let's say just really mad at the Democrats for being so horrible that they make Trump possible, that somehow like you're a bad person for doing that is, I only see lefties canceling. I only see lefties doing what Trump is supposed to be doing, right? Only lefties are canceling people because they voted the wrong way, or because they don't like their political views, or something, or they're a Nazi, or whatever it is. Only lefties are doing that. I don't see right-wing people doing that. Oh, you voted for Kamala? You're fired. Oh, you voted for Biden? You're out of the family. I have not heard or seen one right-wing person doing that. So if or censoring, right? Oh, let's censor left. No, I don't see any right-wing people saying let's censor lefties. I see lefties censoring right-wing people. What's wrong with you people? Are you insane? You're literally doing the thing that you're accusing Trump of because why? I mean, when it gets to the point where righties are censoring people or are calling for people to be censored, or right now I hear right-wing people saying let's have freedom of speech and freedom of ideas. That's completely liberal. That's a liberal idea. Censoring people and telling people that they're fired for voting the wrong way, or that they're bad people or the worst people, or they're canceled or they're out of your life, like that is an authoritarian fascist idea. That is not liberalism. You are a fucking fascist if that is your viewpoint. And so the left has gone insane. The left has gone insane. And they think that they're okay, and they're really not okay. And, if you have a problem with that, I don't know. I'm just calling it like it is, but I'm not trying to cancel anybody. I'm not saying like get out of here, I hate you, like, or you're fired or whatever. If you're a lefty, I have concerns, I have criticisms, I have comments. Right, Gregory, you're right. All the Democrats had to do was offer free health care for all in the USA to get elected, just like most of the rest of the world. And it's it's crazy. I just spoke with. I'm gonna cover some stories, but women in the patriarchy don't count. You mean women doing patriarchal shit or authoritarian shit? I don't know. Their accusations are all confessions. Exactly, Caleb. What was I going to say? Oh, I just spoke with a woman from London yesterday. And we were talking about homelessness, the rampant homelessness in Los Angeles. And I asked her about homelessness in London. She's like, there's not really any homelessness. There's not places like Skid Row. First of all, they have a social safety net in London, right? In England, they have the dole and they have national health care. I'm sure there's homeless people there. Maybe she just didn't come in contact with them. But she just said, you just don't really see stuff like that much. But had the Democrats been supportive of stuff like that, of actual taking care of people and making sure people are okay, had the Democrats not been an actual right-wing party trying to push everybody more right to vote for Trump, had the Democrats actually been a left-wing party and appealed to lefties instead of using scare tactics as the only thing that they could do to get you to vote. So, if you're like, well, you should have, don't bash the Democrats or vote for Kamala or vote for Biden, or don't bash the Democrats because you're supporting Trump by doing that. That's not an idea. That's called lunacy. That's called lunacy. That's called lunacy. That's called you lost your mind, because the TDS is so in your brain. They got you. It's like infesting your brain. Your brain is swollen with TDS. They got you because you're like, but he's just so bad that they're not as bad. And that's what I'm hearing about Hunter Biden. Oh, well, who cares about Hunter breaking laws and stuff, and money laundering and being a part of like Burisma and and biolabs and laundering money for who cares about all that stuff? Trump's a criminal. Get out of here. I mean, get out of here figuratively with that shit. Not like leave my place, leave the platform. I'm just saying, you know what I'm saying? Yeah, Dick Cheney supporting the Democrats, Liz Cheney supporting the Democrats, whatever. Just like, that's just foolishness. It's foolishness. So I'm going to criticize the Democrats all day long. Why? Because they gave you Trump. You're welcome. Don't be mad at Trump. Be mad at the Democrats for fucking losing to them because they're so bad. They're losers. And if you were like, oh, yeah, Trump is so bad that you have to vote for, the Democrats, and you didn't vote for the Democrats. You're criticizing the Democrats and you didn't vote for the Democrats and you gave us Trump. Like, that's a loser idea. You're a loser. If you think that shit, that is a loser ass idea. Like, just come on, like, get it together. Get it together. Hunter and Trump belong in the same jail cell? Very likely, yeah. But I mean, the thing is that I don't have, I'm not on team like, well, I hope Trump turns it around and makes the country better. I'm not even on Cenk Uygur's side. Like, Cenk Uygur is like, well, I feel better that Trump is, he actually had a post saying, I feel better that Trump is president now because the Biden administration was so bad. I can kind of get that. I can get to that idea a little bit, but I don't have, I don't have, I'm not necessarily feeling, like a sigh of relief. Yeah, the Biden administration was horrible. Do I think it's going to turn around and get better? I don't know. I would like it to. I'll be merrily surprised if it does, but I don't have high hopes. No. Anyways, blah, blah, blah. Exactly. Denver, good point. The more polarized we become at all levels, the more we enable technocratic control. Sorry. And that's the point. I'm not like, I hope that it makes me a little angry. The TDS thing makes me a little angry. And so I get a little like, but it's always a class war. It's always a class war. It's always us against them. So the only way we're going to really like get out of this is to realize that like we are the target. It's not, it's lefties. And, that's the thing is canceling people and disowning people and putting people down because they voted a certain way. Like, okay, we can all do that all day long. Whatever. Like, I think the Democrat side is just like really kind of lost, but that doesn't mean I hate people who are leftists. I'm just like, I just think they're just infested with brain rot. But like, I hope that, people who are lefties can start, and I think a lot do. I think a lot of lefties can see outside of it and can see outside of the bubble. They're what are called independents these days, right? Independent left, independent right, whatever you want to call it. People, people are all mixed up. People have lots of ideas. Most people are a mix of liberal and conservative ideas. Did you know that? I just think the left has gone a little bit cuckoo nuts, but that doesn't mean that I'm not like, I hate you. I'm just like, why? Why are you doing this? But it's the people that are in control that are the ones that are out to hurt you, right? Whether it's the left or the right, it's the people in control that are out to hurt you. And yes, you should be absolutely skeptical and you should actually hold Trump's feet to the fire and be absolutely like critical of everything he does. Absolutely. That's your job. That's our job. And beyond that, we have to see beyond what is going on in this like immediate, like right push to the right of both parties going to the right of both parties going to fascism and realize that we're on the verge of like, a total and complete technocratic control grid. And first of all, how are we going to stop that? How are we going to get out of that? And then beyond that, how do we start to push things, back towards a more fair, and I'm sorry to say, more traditionally liberal or libertarian, whatever you want to call it, type of government. Because I think most people are liberal, aka liberal libertarian, right? Most people are live and let live, and they just want good things for people and good things for their friends and their neighbors. Like most people want that. That's what most people want. It's the people at the top that don't want that for you, right? And so, we keep getting less and less from Democrats or Republicans. We keep getting less and less, and they keep taking. So how are we going to stop them from taking? That's the question. Malcolm says, in UK, I grew up with our understanding of left. Society looks after its weak before its strong can get too far ahead. But these days, I believe governance should have no politics. Citizens assembly. I agree with the citizens assembly thing. I wish we can get. Maybe that's the only way out of this is for people to start gathering together outside of official government bodies. In ways that are so large that, right, to steer policy and steer things, you're going to run up against the state eventually if you do any kind of organizing. If you do any kind of organizing, you're going to run up against the state. It's going to come at you, right? If you're organizing, if you're doing your own gardening, if you're doing your own farming, if you're out working outside of any kind of jurisdiction of the state, you're going to run into the state, and the state is going to come and tell you they have something to say about that. And so eventually you're going to have to organize against the state. That's just how it's going to happen. But you could organize against the state in such a way that there's such a groundswell of support for certain things that it's, there's been pushback in the last few years, right? Like COVID was a thing that they pushed on us, and then people went, no. A lot of people went, no, push back. And there are other ideas that are put out there that they push on us, like, here, we're going to do this, right? You're going to believe this. And people are like, no, we're not going to do that. So we need to push back in that way, in that concerted way, and also push back harder. I'm upset with the left. That's all. But I'm mad about how people are acting. But I wish people could get it together and just realize that it's, it's never us against us. It's never us against us. It's never left against right. It's us against them, period. Say what? I smell like beans? I probably do. I make my own beans all the time. So that's probably true. Left traditionally means you're against monarchy. Sure. I mean, or against, I think left generally means you're against, power, everybody at the top having everything and people at the bottom having nothing. There's probably a better word for that. Golly gee, I'm going to cover some other news today. I promise. Aleppo happened kind of after my show or over the weekend, or there's been a new flare-up. Oh, I was going to watch this. I was going to read this. Climate-induced poisoning. 350 elephants probably killed by toxic water. Algal blooms could be behind mass die-offs in Botswana that sparked flurry of theories in 2020. More than 350 elephants died in mysterious circumstances. We covered this. We talked about this. An alarming trend of climate-induced poisoning. Elephants of all ages were seen walking in circles before collapsing and dying. Carcasses are spotted northeastern Botswana in 2020. So they think it's because of toxic water, which was climate-induced, which, sure. How many elephants are dying of starvation? How many elephants are dying of, having their habitat impinged upon by humans? And if we keep going the way we're going, this is going to, and all signs and all graphs and all charts say that we're going to keep doing that. I love elephants too. Guys, if you like the show, if you want to support the show, if you want the show to keep coming to you for free, Monday through Friday, sometimes on the weekend. If you want to support the show, there are lots of links in the description box, lots of ways to do it. People have been supporting a lot in the last couple of days, and I appreciate you for that. And let's keep the trend going because I like doing this show. I want to keep doing it. And it really does. I mean, it really does help. The support really does help. Anyways, for those of you who support the show, I appreciate it. All the, all the links are in the description box. There's also a Linktree link in there too. I mean, we're poisoning the earth hand over fist. That's what we're doing. And, man, where else did I hear over the weekend? I was listening to a podcast and somebody was talking about, and it was on a pretty significant truther, like a very more prominent truther channel, I guess. Alt media channel, about how the oil and gas industry basically isn't a part, like the landman thing that I played. It's a part of every single thing that we do. Until we get off that teat, there's nothing about the poisoning of the planet is going to change. Until we get off the teat of fossil fuel fueled and chemical infused everything and plastic everything, and agribusiness everything. Until we get off that teat, we're going to keep destroying the planet. I mean, that's just what's happening. That's just how it's, that's what we're doing. So Aleppo happened there was a bunch coming out about it. There seemed to be a strike going on in Aleppo by Turkish-backed, hint, NATO-backed rebels against the Syrian army. And everybody now it's becoming kind of an open secret that ISIS is US created thing, and it's been admitted to publicly. And that also Israel has a unit known as ISIS. So people are just saying, well, obviously Israel is ISIS. I don't know. Well, and Israel just bombed the Aleppo airport. So we had a ceasefire for a second, and now this seems to have popped off. In Aleppo. Hold on. Finding the news article about it. This is funny because it says Russian strikes in Aleppo. This typical Western media, BBC. Russian strikes hit Aleppo as rebels take control. Rebel forces in Syria have taken control of the majority of the country's second largest city, Aleppo, according to the UK-based monitoring group Syrian Observatory for Human Rights. Russia launched airstrikes in response across parts of Aleppo overnight into Saturday for the first time since 2016. SOHR said more than 300 people, including more than 20 civilians, have been killed since the offensive started on Wednesday. Offensive is the largest against the Syrian government in years, and first-time rebels fighting the forces of President Bashar al-Assad have reached Aleppo since being forced out by the army in 2016. So this is kind of wild. I mean, how many fronts are there now in the Middle East? How many wars are? It seems like the Western countries or, the U.S. empire supporting all these forces are intent on making something jump off. I mean, all of these things are being escalated while Biden is still in office, still a lame duck. The rebels are said to be Turkish backed, but everybody's saying that they're Turkish, aka US backed. Early on Friday, government forces said that regained positions in a number of towns in Aleppo and Idlib provinces following the offensive launched by HTS and allied factions on Wednesday. The Syrian government, with help from Russia and other allies, later retook most of the areas that it had lost. So, Russia is in alliance with Syria and has been making sure that Syria does not fall to Western forces. Syrian and Russian planes carried out 23 airstrikes near Idlib on Friday, according to SOHR. UK-based monitoring group, which uses a network of sources on the ground in Syria, said 4 civilians were killed and 19 others were injured in the Russian strikes. Israel just recently bombed the Aleppo airport and is currently dropping bombs on Aleppo. And this is from Sarah saying, bombing 3 countries at once is terrorism, not self-defense. What are the reasons for Israel bombing Aleppo? Apparently, it's a land route for supplies, apparently, to Hezbollah. Do they drive Toyota pickups? Yeah. Here's another post about Turkish ISIS. Now they're calling them Turkish ISIS. I never knew ISIS to be affiliated with Turkey, but maybe I missed something. Turkish ISIS captured Syrian women in northern Aleppo. The screams of raped women and slaughtered families. My God. This is from today. Apparently, you have to take all of these videos, with a supposedly this is what they're of. So we'll see. Yeah, we'll see. What happens here? It's kind of a newer situation, so there's a lot of misinformation going on. But the general consensus is that the rebels are Al Qaeda / ISIS linked. in the way that ISIS and Al Qaeda have always been linked to U.S. support. Is this right? This is a strange headline out of I haven't even had time to fact check this. In Syria, militias armed by the Pentagon fight those armed by the CIA. Yeah. That's kind of how it's going there. Let's see if we can find this. As if they're going to let me read it. Syrian. Oh, they're not going to let me read it. Dang it. Hold on 1 second. I was almost there. I was almost there. Oh, I think I did get a let's see. All right. Somebody supported me on Ko-Fi. I can't really see who it was. Check my dashboard. Well, somebody tipped me on Ko-Fi. I don't know who that is yet. See if I can get in there to find out who it is. This might be an older article, actually. Fund both sides, make money. That's right. That describes the Civil War. It's still early though. I've yet to go listen to Vanessa Beeley. There's a Vanessa Beeley interview about what's going on in Syria that I want to listen to. I just have not had the time to go over and check that out. I think that's on Ryan Christian's channel. Let's see. I don't know if I'm going to be able to cover every single thing that I had today, y'all. Did I? Let's see. And I hope this is the password. It is. Ta-da! Oh. No. Oh, thanks, Kamashwari Kate. All right. We found out who it was that hit me up on Ko-Fi. It was Kate. Thanks. I appreciate you. She hit me with a couple of 3 coffees on Ko-Fi. Thank you. You are awesome. Oh, thank you. Thank you. Got you, Kate. All right. But the madness continues with the ramping up of the Middle East situation, or the falling apart of the Middle East situation. It looks like the Syrian army, with the aid of the Russians, have beaten back the assault, mostly. Breaking: Israel just bombed. That's old. Sorry. That was old. Israel is bombing Syria's 2 major airports in Damascus and Aleppo. No, that's old too. Jesus. Okay. Hard to get current news on what's going on. All right. Quickly, we're just going to go through this article a little bit, and then we'll... Assault on Aleppo. Who are the Syrian rebels? HTS, and why are they... now they're called HTS. 8 years ago... Indiscriminate Russian airstrikes helped the forces of the Syrian president Bashar al-Assad drive rebels from Aleppo. Come on, man. No. I'll do it later. Thanks so much. Over the weekend, a stunning rebel offensive seized Aleppo again, and the Assad regime now faces its greatest threat in years. New offensive began on Wednesday when rebel groups claimed to have swiftly seized control of military base in 15 villages. They're led by the jihadist group Hayat Tahrir al-Sham, cut off the main highway from Damascus to Aleppo. Assad's ally Russia launched airstrikes in response. Yeah, I mean, basically what I just said. It looks like they tried an incursion and basically got beat back. But Israel has also joined the... it's interesting because Israel's bombing Syria, and so is Russia. So isn't that fun? Oh, Guy McPherson has another video. Okay, today I haven't watched any of his latest. So the rebels have been confined to parts of Syria's north and northwest, where they hold on with the protection of bordering Turkey. The war has never completely stopped, but has largely been in stalemate since Russia's Vladimir Putin and Turkey's Recep Tayyip Erdogan brokered a ceasefire in the northwestern Idlib region in 2020. Huh. So basically it's just go for it time in the Middle East, apparently. You guys got any ideas about how to topple several countries at once, or maybe just create a all-out chaos in the region? Go for it. Everybody hates Syria. New sitcom. Yeah. Anyways, it's a concerning situation for sure. I'll be keeping up with it this week. We'll be keeping up with it. If there are any new wrinkles, that is about all I have seen of what is going on. Yeah, Russia and Israel bombing Aleppo simultaneously does not sound good. That sounds like something that can turn into a hot war real quick. But I mean, it also seems like they're trying to get everything popping off before Trump takes office. Like they seem to be, whoever they is who are controlling things. It's clearly not Biden, but they seem to want to get things ramped up so that when Trump does take office, that he's kind of committed to something, or there's just such a mess going on that, you know, it makes things difficult, makes it difficult to. That's what it seems like is happening. That seems pretty apparent, right? You know, an all-out escalation of all the conflicts all at the same time seems pretty apparent. If that is the intention, I don't know. That's something that people are guessing at. It's a very scary time, though, because people are nervous, and rightly so. And again, Trump isn't even, Trump, the Hitler, isn't even in office yet. All of this is going on. So when Trump gets in, I don't know. Yesterday, Iran tried to fly supply support to Aleppo, and Israel fighter jets forced them to land in Iraq. Huh. I mean, yeah, it's a crazy time, right? Like Russia is beating back these rebels, but Israel's like, how about we send in some bombs ourselves? Israel / the United States. How about we send in some bombs too? I'm nervous. It makes me nervous. All of this makes me nervous. All right, guys. Well, I've covered all I can cover today. I'm going to have to leave you all. Thanks again for everyone who's been supporting. Y'all are awesome. I'll be back tomorrow at the regular time of 11 a.m. And hopefully things are still somewhat stable in the world. Or, not any more unstable than they are right now. Let's hope that's true tomorrow. Thanks for watching, everyone. Thanks for signing in. If I upset anybody, I'm sorry. I'm just giving my views. That's all. It's all love for, if you disagree with me, that's okay. It's okay. If Russia and Israel collide, yeah, that's all right. Okay, guys. Thanks a lot. See you tomorrow. Until next time. Peace.